Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Amityville BOE School District Board of Education meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 4th, 2026, and I'm opening the meeting now at 5:46 p.m. This is our work session meeting. At this point in time, in attendance at the meeting is myself, President Lisa Johnson. The first Vice President, Juan Leon, is anticipated to be arriving. My second Vice President, Chris Neering, is here. Trustees Carol Seahawk, Leslie Kretzer here, and it's anticipated that Trustee Megan Messman will be arriving. Also in attendance tonight is our Superintendent, Dr. Gina Talbot, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, Mary Stevens, our Director of Human Resources, Dr. Landau, our Interim Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operation, Joe Dragone, and Legal Counsel, John Sheen, is here at this point in time. At this time, at 5:47 p.m., can I have a motion to enter into executive session for particular person's employment history and advice from counsel?
Motion. Second.
Carol Seahawk is first, Leslie Kretz second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you for joining us.
Education meeting. We are resuming open now at 7:40. Please note all the emergency exits. So in an event of emergency, you know where to go. And please join the Board of Education in the Pledge of Allegiance. At this point in time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Dr. Talbot.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening to everyone. Before we begin tonight's business, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of a valued member of our Amityville Memorial High School family, Mr. Donald Toomey, a dedicated special education teacher. His loss is deeply felt across our school community. We extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, colleagues, and especially the students whose lives he touched so profoundly. The white rose that is here at our table speaks of a life that was cherished, a heart that made a difference, and a presence that will always be remembered. At this time, I would like to turn it over to his principal, Mr. John Cardone, who will share words in his memory. Following Mr. Cardone's remarks, our board president will read aloud a resolution of memoriam on behalf of the Board of Education, and we will conclude with a moment of silence to honor Mr. Toomey's life and service. Thank you.
Just want to start off by saying Mr. Toomey was a really great man. He worked at Amityville Memorial High School for the majority of his career, but also spent some time at Park Avenue Memorial Elementary School, and we're all going to miss him greatly. Mr. Toomey made a lasting impact through his unwavering commitment to student success and his strong support of colleagues. He consistently went above and beyond to ensure that students received the help they needed. An example is when he voluntarily met with a student over the summer to provide them the support to pass their Regents exams. And I'm sure he did this multiple times. Mr. Toomey was equally supportive of his colleagues, always willing to collaborate, lend a hand, and contribute positively to the school community. He was a true team player whose professionalism and care strengthened both instruction and staff morale. He had a really great personality. Mr. Toomey will be remembered as a kind, patient, and compassionate educator who brought both warmth and humor to the workplace. He had a light-hearted personality and often shared playful moments with colleagues, helping to create a positive and welcoming environment. After Mr. Toomey passed at the high school, I had the pleasure of reading a binder where we had students and we had faculty share the positive moments that they had with him, and it was very touching. So we're happy that we're able to provide that to his family. Even during times when he was not feeling well, he made every effort to come to school, demonstrating his deep dedication and sense of responsibility to his students, colleagues, and the school community. His compassion extends to staff as well, often checking in on colleagues when they were out or not feeling well. And that I read in some of the descriptions from the teachers when they were out on leave or sick, he would call them to see how they're doing. His kindness, loyalty, and genuine care for others left a lasting impression that'll be remembered by all who had the privilege of working with him. Thank you, and Mr. Toomey, we'll miss you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Cardone, for sharing those kind words about Mr. Toomey. Whereas the Amityville School District deeply mourns the passing of Mr. Donald Toomey, and whereas Mr. Toomey dedicated over 20 years of service to the children and families of the Amityville School District as a special education teacher, and whereas throughout his tenure, Mr. Toomey demonstrated unwavering dedication, compassion, and professionalism, positively shaping the lives of countless students with diverse learning needs. And whereas his colleagues and students remember him for his kindness, patience, commitment to fostering an inclusive and supportive learning environment. And whereas the Board of Education wishes to honor his life, his contributions to education, and his lasting impact he made on the Amityville School District community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Amityville Board of Education extends its heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Toomey, and be it further resolved that this resolution be entered into the official minutes of the Amityville Board of Education, ensuring that Mr. Toomey's dedication and legacy are permanently remembered. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education will observe a moment of silence in his honor at this March 4th, 2026 meeting. Can everyone please stand and join the Board of Education in a moment of silence in honor of Mr. Donald Toomey? Thank you for joining us in this moment of silence in honor of Mr. Donald Toomey, who gave dedicated years of service to the Amityville School District. Thank you. Dr. Talbot, I'm going to give the meeting back to you.
Thank you. Good evening once again to our president, trustees, members of our school community. We would like to welcome and acknowledge Mr. Joe Dragon as our newly appointed interim assistant superintendent for finance and operations. Welcome. Before Dr. Lando begins his presentation on our enrollment history and five-year enrollment projections, I want to provide a bit of context for tonight's presentation. Enrollment projections are not new to us. Over the past 2 years, we have used projection data to guide difficult but necessary staffing decisions. At times, those decisions were not popular, particularly when we had to lay off staff. However, those actions were grounded in data. Prior to that point, we were operating with staffing levels based on COVID enrollment numbers and class sizes that no longer reflected our actual student population. In short, we were overstaffed relative to enrollment. Our responsibility is to align staffing and resources with the students we are actually serving, not the numbers we once had. Using projections has allowed us to correct course responsibly while still maintaining favorable student-to-teacher ratios and protecting the integrity of our instructional program. Tonight's presentation continues that work. You will see a 10-year enrollment history, the methodology used to develop projections, and both minimum and maximum 5-year forecasts. You will also see projected trends by graduating class and what they mean for our middle and high school populations in the years ahead. These projections will inform staffing, course selections, budgeting, and our strategic leveraging of existing full-time equivalents to enhance our classrooms. We plan ahead so that we are not forced to react later. With that in turn, I turn you over to Dr. Lando, who has in-depth experience in projections and will walk us through tonight's full presentation. Dr. Lando.
Thank you, Dr. Talbert. Good evening, President Johnson, First and Second Vice Presidents Leon and Naring, Trustees Kretz, Messman, and Seehoff, Dr. Talbert, colleagues, and community members. Thank you for providing me with this opportunity to present an enrollment analysis and short and long-term enrollment projections, the completion of which was one of Amityville Union Free School District's 2025-26 goals. The purpose of this work is to review the alignment of enrollment and staffing levels for the current school year and to ensure that future staffing levels reflect enrollment needs and are aligned with instructional goals and needs. Tonight's presentation will address the 4 items shown here and include brief explanations and commentary as appropriate. Presented here are enrollment data from 2016-17 through 2025-26. Enrollment declined by 12.8% over that period, 106 at the elementary level, 104 at the middle level, and 164 at the high school level, for a total of 374 students. Years prior to 2021-22, the year in which our full-day pre-K program began, do not include those pre-K enrollments. The trend is not unusual. As reported by Western Suffolk BOCES, Suffolk County Public School enrollment has dropped by approximately 10.5% over the past decade. Elementary enrollment data for the past decade are shown here, with each grade level represented by one color. Note the difference in year-to-year grade level variations beginning in the 2020-21 school year. So again, you can follow each color as it moves across, and it's that same grade level is varying in that way. It's not cohorts, it's grade levels. These are the middle school enrollments for the same period. The recent increase in grade level variations continues the pattern that began at the elementary level in 2021. And lastly, here are 10 years of high school enrollment data. A cohort survival approach, the standard approach used by demographers, was used to calculate the proportion of students enrolled in one grade that continue into the next. Expected changes for all grade levels are shown and based on data from the previous 3 and 5 years. For example, we expect enrollment of students entering 6th grade to decline between 6 and 8% in any given year. When you look at the far right-hand columns, the average 5-year and 3-year changes, again, you will see if you look at 6th grade, there's a decline looking at the 5-year averages of 6.72%. If we look at only the previous 3 years, then it would be a decline of 7.83%. Enrollment of students entering 10th grade is expected to actually increase between 6.5% and 7.5% annually. And again, you look at those two right-hand columns, and it shows you that growth that we expect as students enter 10th grade. We see here that variations in cohort survival rate can be very significant. Using 4th grade as a case in point, the percentage of students that continue into the next grade has varied by 18.84% during the past 5 years, from a low of declining by 11.76% to a high of increasing by 7.08%. This instability impacts the ability to accurately predict future enrollments. Therefore, both minimum and maximum enrollment projections are included in tonight's presentation. So this table presents minimum grade level and total enrollments one might expect over the next 5 years. It is unlikely that declines will occur in all grades and to the extent illustrated here. Therefore, it would be inappropriate for us to use these figures to project staffing, as it is likely that such an approach would not meet student programming needs and we would have overcrowded classrooms. This table represents the maximum enrollments one might expect over the next 5 years. We are using this data to project staffing needs in order to ensure that classes are not overcrowded, especially given the variability in grade level enrollments illustrated in earlier and as you will see in upcoming slides. For next year, the expected decline of 23 students divided among 13 grades, an average of fewer than 2 students per grade, is insignificant overall. So expected enrollment changes over the next 5 years include a growth of 19 students grades K through 5, a decrease of 97 students in grades 6 through 8, and a decrease of 36 students in grades 9 through 12, for a decrease of 109 students overall over the next 5 years. And again, this graph shows you the previous 5 years and the projection for the 5 years that follow. The stability of overall K-5 enrollments leads us to anticipate minimal enrollment-based elementary staffing changes. However, the variation in kindergarten registrations from a low of 174 to a high of 220, any deviation from the mean could impact the accuracy of our 1st through 4th grade enrollment projections. Middle school enrollments expected to dip next year, rise in 2027-28, and then decline the following 3 years. Once again, significant grade level variation is readily apparent. And finally, high school enrollment is expected to be stable next year with minor declines over subsequent years. The grade level variations will require adjustments to teachers' instructional assignments within the school. For example, changes to what classes a social studies teacher might teach, whether it's US history or world history, with the overall number of teachers expected to remain very similar. Finally, this color-coded slide illustrates expected enrollments for each class cohort over the next 5 years. The average change is the growth or decline expected on an annual basis at any grade level. So again, that 6.72% decline in entering 6th grade, but a 7.28% increase expected as students enter 10th grade. To recap, we provide 85 pre-kindergarten seats on an annual basis, a number that we expect will remain the same. Kindergarten counts are based on the maximum of the 3 or 5 year average enrollments because there is not a cohort upon which to base data and to base projections. Grade 1 through 12 projections are again based on the maximum of the 3 and 5 year cohort survival rates. There is no steady pattern to kindergarten enrollment variations, and again, that may impact the enrollment projections for Northwest and Park Avenue. District-wide enrollments are expected to drop between a little under 1% and perhaps as much as 2.5% next year, and between 4.2% and 10.2% over the next 5 years. Having worked with fellow district and building administrators to engage in a comprehensive review of all courses, class sizes, and teacher assignments, it is clear that current staffing levels and student-to-teacher ratios are favorable, thereby enabling the district to provide rigorous, supportive, and appropriate instruction for all learners. We will continue to use enrollment projections and course requests to establish course section counts and FTE needs, provide rigorous, supportive, and appropriate instruction, accurately budget for instructional and non-instructional salary lines based on needed sections and teacher experience level, education level, and longevity, and support existing and proposed education goals of the district, and examine ways to leverage existing FTEs to enhance the educational program. Thank you very much again for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Excuse me. Do any board members have any questions? Go ahead.
Okay, great. Dr. Lando, thank you for that presentation. I've been looking around on the New York State report card website. Is it safe to say, by just me looking at it, going back 10 years, it appears that our district has decreased by 10%? Is that more or less what you found as well?
Yes. And the data that are used here tend to be beds data or data from around September 30th. So we use a common date to predict that. And yes, you would be correct in saying that.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions or comments?
Dr. Lando, do you know how many students go to charter schools this year? Because it looks like we spend $1.9 million.
I did not research that data for part of this presentation, and I can get that number for you, and I'll make a note of it.
Mhm.
I know that I'm sorry, go ahead.
I guess just another observation is just that the 10-year trend that you lose about 700 students going from 5th grade to middle school.
700 students from 5th grade?
Something like that. If I'm looking and understanding this combined enrollment graph.
So let me just get to the combined enrollment graph. And are you looking at the color-coded graph, or are you looking at the or the grade level projections?
It is slide 3.
Okay.
And it shows about 1,250 pre-K to K students.
So as you look at that, you have to remember that there are different numbers of grades in each school. So as you look at the school, if you're looking at the trend for the red line is our pre-K through 2. The trend for the green line is the middle school, and is K through 5. You look at the different lines, and that's the same school. So you would have to look from year to year and from the beginning of the line to the end of the line to see the change for that particular school. So there's not the dramatic change. The total number of students lost district-wide over 10 years was 374.
Okay, and you had said that was like a 12.8% decline.
12.8%, yes.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Do we know what these numbers are compared to the number of residents in the district, or if those numbers are changing with the enrollment, or if the number of residents is staying approximately the same and it's just people choosing to move out, take their students outside of the district?
Okay, I didn't compare the number of students district-wide. It's a similar question to Ms. Messman's, which is do we know how many students are going to charter schools or to schools, to private schools? And that's some data that I would endeavor to get for the board if you would like me to do that. I did not do that research for this presentation.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I mean, my reason for that is just, are we trending in a downward direction because that's just the nature of who's living here? Or if that's based on people making decisions on
So
how the district is performing?
based on my anecdotal experience, even the district that I live in, the enrollments are declining. This is not an uncommon trend across Nassau and Suffolk counties. Although from the minimum that I read, and again, anecdotally, Nassau schools seem to be declining a little bit less than Suffolk schools. The Western Suffolk BOCES reports speak to a population that is not selling their houses. People tend to stay in communities longer. And a declining birth rate, although birth rate is not tied and a good predictor for kindergarten enrollment. But those two shifts are things that Western Suffolk BOCES cites as reasons for declining enrollments in schools generally.
Okay, thank you.
Just one thing, and if I recall correctly, when we went out for the bond years ago and it was passed in 2016. If I recall correctly, I think it was BOCES did we received the study from BOCES about enrollment. And it showed if I recall correctly, it showed like a huge increase in enrollment that we were going to have over the next 10 years, 10 to 15 years. I think it was 10 years, a 10-year study. So it's interesting now that sometimes I'm just making a statement, if I recall correctly, that sometimes it's hard to predict because based on what we saw that the numbers were going to be going up, up, and up in terms of enrollment, within projected enrollment. So it's just interesting how over this 10-year period now that it's up and down, and then also just kind of I'm looking at the school year of 2019, 2020, then in 2020 to 2021, where we started with the COVID and home instruction in 2020, like in March of 2020. So I'm wondering, was that also an impact there as well? And then once COVID was over, then the numbers really changed because people maybe decided to stay, leave, or, leave the area or just come out of the school in general. So it's just.
I'm going to bring us back to this slide. And if you look at the 2021 school year, you see less of a downward trend in that 21-22 school year. And if you were to look back at the overall data, there was in many Long Island districts an uptick in enrollment coming out of COVID. And the reason for that was that people were fleeing the city and coming out to Long Island schools. That coincided with a spike in housing prices, a decline in available housing. There was a greater turnover and housing prices increased dramatically at that particular time. So there are trends that are unforeseen that we can't predict will happen when we try to do these numbers. Could I expend them out 10 years? Yes, but then that 10 years would be guessing on enrollments from kindergarten from 10 years before. And I don't believe that those numbers would be accurate. It is our intent as a district administration to run these numbers on an annual basis and to provide an update and to be able to look at the difference between our projections and what actually happened to inform our decisions as we move forward.
And just my last question, the last two columns, am I assuming it's saying average change over 5 years and average change 3?
That's correct.
Thank you. Any other questions? Just speak more into the mic, please.
Thank you, Dr. Lando. Now I just lost my whole thought. What was I gonna say? I wanted to know about the trending with other districts, but you answered that already.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's not from me, that's from Western Suffolk BOCES, and there are
Okay.
two different reports that cite that.
And then this is a 10-year projection. Do you do this every year? Do you just follow? I mean, we've never seen this, I don't think, have we? I don't think we've ever seen a 10-year.
I recall, I think it was either in 2015, I may be off.
It was 2014, President Johnson. That
Thank
was
you.
the committee report from the outside company. And it
Thank
was
you.
a 15-year trajectory
Thank you.
that showed a great increase in enrollment. And that was used to promote the bond referendum.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Go ahead.
Yes, more of a comment. I think that just solidifies that 10 to 15 years of projection can be wrong. These things don't factor in social, economical factors, political factors that change rebates and things like that. So something more like a 3-year or 5-year is probably more accurate than a 10 or 15. I mean, no, no, nothing wrong. No, I appreciate it, but just in general terms.
Where
Yeah.
enrollment projections are concerned, I would agree with you, yes.
Thank you. It wasn't anything negative against the presentation. I appreciate it.
I didn't
It's
hear it as
just-
negative.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, thank you.
Any community input on agenda items?
Lisa, you're gonna announce the walk-ons
I'm trying to make a note of them right now.
before the community comments?
Yes.
So what I'll let the person go to the mic right now, and as I just finish, then I'll come back to it and I'll do that. I'm gonna do that, but I'm just finishing writing everything up, so therefore I can state it correctly. That's all. So
Okay.
let the person start at the mic, and then if anyone needs to come back, they can come back. So go ahead. Thank you.
It's a quick question for Dr. Lando. Thank you for the presentation. So I understand that everyone in Long Island is trending downward, Amityville 12.9%, but Long Island 10%. But what's the deal? Is everyone trending downward in sixth grade or just Amityville? Because the 6.7% drop going into sixth grade and then coming back into 10th, that can't be island-wide.
Anecdotally, and I'm not speaking from hard facts, I'm speaking anecdotally based on my conversations with colleagues over time. Different districts have different patterns to their enrollments based on a variety of factors. Everything from, as was brought up by some of our trustees, whether or not there are charter schools or private schools in the area. Some have a pattern that there is a drop in sixth grade and an increase elsewhere. I've seen other districts that there is a drop, that there is an increase going into sixth grade and a drop going into ninth grade, where students might be choosing private schools as they enter ninth grade. So it's really a district by district approach that needs to be followed based on my experience. So I would need to look further into why that pattern might be in Amityville before I could answer what it means for us here.
Okay. Anecdotally, as a parent of two middle schoolers and community member who talks to other parents, they're scared of the middle school here. And I think that's a problem that needs to be addressed because I think this is specific to Amityville. I look at that and I see a red flag. But we came through the middle school.
Sorry, Caroline, what was the comment? They're scared?
I think a lot of people flee the middle school. I think they're enrolled up to fifth grade and then they don't want to go through the middle school and then they leave. And I think that's a problem that has to be spoken out loud, which is why I'm here saying it out loud. And it should not be a pink elephant. The middle school has to get better.
Thank you. At this point in time, I'm just gonna make a motion to pause the community input regarding board agenda items. And can I have a motion to pause the community input regarding agenda items to add resolutions?
So moved.
Second.
Lizzie Kretz is first, Chris Nairn is second. And once again, that was just a motion to pause the community input so the board can add some agenda items. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. So there are several things that we need to add to the agenda. The first one, can I have a motion to amend the agenda to add agenda item 3B1A, which would be for the appointment of Brendan McLeod as the pit director from March 5th, 2026 to June 30th, 2026. And the compensation will be $1,646. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda to add this agenda item?
Motion.
Second.
Chris Nairn is first. Leslie Kretz is second. Any discussion on this item?
This is just to add, right? We're just adding the agenda.
Right now,
so we
this
could
is just to add the
Yeah,
item.
so we shouldn't talk about it, right? We just,
We can,
okay.
it's either way. If you- So we can vote on it and then we can talk about it. So if we want to do the vote, just to amend the,
We just want to amend the agendas. And then
Right,
we're going to
okay.
take the vote and the commentary.
I'll do it for the next portion then. That's
Right,
fine.
correct.
All those in favor of amending the agenda to add this item?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3B1A? Yeah, now just, we have a motion for agenda item 3B1A and then I'll have a discussion on it.
So Lisa, my request was that you add the walk-on agenda items prior to the community input. And then the community knows what's on the agenda.
I'm sorry, yes,
And then
We'll
we
vote on
go
it
through and
later.
we
that's fine.
pull the motions.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. We have several, and that's why. All right, can I have a motion to amend the agenda to add agenda item 3C1, which is accept the use of the town of Brookhaven facilities resolution. And it states, be it resolved that the Amityville Union Free School District accepts the waiver and liability release from the town of Brookhaven in order for the athletic department to use their facilities. Be resolved that upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Dr. Gina Talbot, the Board of Education of the Amityville Union Free School District hereby accepts the contract. So this is just a motion to add this item to the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Carol Ciofas first, Chris Nairn is second. All those in favor of adding it to the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion? Where am I at? No, let me just continue down the line and you can. That's fine. Sorry about that. All right. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda to add agenda item 2C2, which is a resolution that the Board of Education hereby approves the first amendment to the superintendent's employment agreement, extend the term of the present employment agreement by 2 years to July 31st, 2028, and establishing a base salary of $251,125 for the first year, and a base salary of $257,000 for $257,403 for the second year, and hereby authorizing the President of the Board of Education to execute the first amendment. So, all those in favor to amend the agenda to add this item?
Aye.
Aye.
No, I need a motion. I need a
Motion.
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 Carol Ciofas first. I need a second, someone. No second. Leslie Kretz is second.
Second.
All those in favor of adding this amendment? Adding this item to the agenda?
Aye.
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 Aye. Anyone opposed? Opposed? Motion carries 5-1. So now we're going to go back. Oh, I'm sorry. Trustee Leon was requesting
Yes, Madam President. I would like to request a motion to amend the agenda to add 2C3. Is that correct?
What are you trying to do?
3C3, which my correction, 2C3. Yep, 2C3, in order to pass a resolution to fly our flag at half-staff for our teacher at the high school. And we can get into it further. I have the policy up right here.
Is that, I think that's just in the policy, right? Or
That's what
does
it
it
is.
require a resolution?
It's in the policy. It doesn't require a
I think-
resolution.
No, but I think, just for clarification, I thought we had removed it from the policy of, but I know he's just kind of scrolled down, because we had a discussion on.
Okay, well, if you want to have the discussion in
No,
accordance.
no, what I'm saying is just scroll down on the end of the policy to see what the date is on the end of that policy.
Well, this is the policy that's on our school website. Adopted 10/9/2013.
Okay, I'm sorry, Juan, you're just calling a motion to add a resolution to the agenda, so we can just.
Yeah.
Let's.
So I need a first or a second to add the,
Motion.
Chris
Second.
Naren,
Second.
Carol Seoff is second. All those in favor of a resolution to fly the flag at half-staff in honor of Mr. Donald Toomey?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0.
I'm
All right,
sorry,
so-
we voted on the
No,
motion
No, we just
to
added
add
it.
it to the agenda.
That's it. Okay, perfect. So now we're gonna go back to continue with community input on agenda items. So we're looking at agenda items from this week and for next week. I'm sorry, for the next Board of Education meeting, I should say. So I would just request that, if you have a question, it just helps if it's written down. So if there's an answer that needs to be provided, we can do so. And just keep in mind in regards to the policy that we want community input. We want to hear from the community. But when you come to the mic, please be respectful when you come to the mic. That's all we're requesting. Thank you.
Wendy Canestro. The presentation would have been easier for the community to see if it was bar graphs. It's not in color for us, so it's difficult to see, just to keep that in mind. I agree that we don't need a 10-year projection. We're trying to work on a budget now, and a lot of this is fluff. I'm extremely disappointed in this Board of Education to extend this contract, not by 1 year, but by 2 years. It's fiscally irresponsible. You're strapping the next board with this problem now. You have 4 openings. The board majority's likely going to flip. We're going to be stuck with an inept superintendent with little gain in this district, little student achievement improvement. I sat on this board for 1 year with a superintendent who didn't respond to the board in a timely manner, sometimes days, sometimes weeks, sometimes never. It is astounding that you would think the job performance was good enough to put this on the backs of students. The staff who has come up here, a staff member came up here and said 53 days went by with no response from the superintendent. None from your staff member. It is an absolute disappointment. It's the nail in the coffin for if anybody's running for re-election, so at least that's good. The increase in the money of over $500,000, outrageous. I would say to those who have kids in the district, what is in the best interest of your child. You're a parent first before you're a board member. This is to the detriment of the students of Amityville.
Thank you. Excuse me, I think there was just one person in front of you. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Danielle Deasy. I am very disturbed at the lack of transparency by secretly adding this extraordinarily important agenda point to sneak it in at the 11th hour without transparency for the community. This is over $500,000 extending the contract of a superintendent where it was already voted her contract would expire and not be continued. And now you secretly, all of a sudden, in a working session, add it to an agenda and just push it through a 2-year extension for over $500,000? Does the community not have the right to have any voice in this? They weren't allowed to speak. They were railroaded saying, no public comments during the last meeting. And now you sneakily just sneak it in here? What qualifies you for a 2-year extension for $500,000 compensation? And this appointment for the interim assistant superintendent of finance and operation. How many candidates were vetted and interviewed with proper protocol and procedure with transparency to ensure that this school district gets the best candidates possible for the job? Your role was due to expire and it was voted to expire. Who else has been interviewed for this position? Nobody. Nobody else. You all sat here and did nothing, secretly plotting and planning for the extension, with not one other qualified candidate that may actually benefit the student body, because last I checked the U.S. News and World Report, our rankings are abysmal in national statistics as well as New York State. Atrocious. Our students in the high school have a 24% college readiness. Aren't you embarrassed? Don't you want more for our students, superintendent? What have you done to actually improve the statistics and the performance academically for the students? No wonder there is an exodus of our students. They're sending their students to any school that is better than the terrible performance. And the taxpayers need to wake up, because the money is being spent to line your pockets and hire your family members. And act like a clan. There's people at the dais that don't even live here, but they belong to your church.
Your time is up. Thank you very much.
Embarrassing.
Thank you.
So my name is Bishop Walter Woolley. I live here in this town for the last 50 years. And I want to thank the school board for recommending the extension of the superintendent. Why do we constantly try to discredit leadership when someone been doing a good job in spite of how others feel? Go look at the history for the last 10 years, 20 years of this school district, and stop blaming one person for everybody in the district. One person does not solve the problem for the whole school district. It's over 20,000 people that lives here in Amityville.
Excuse me,
So
no calling out. Thank you.
So therefore, when a person is doing a job, why discredit that person? Let them do the job. We here as a community, said the community, we here as a community trying to work together as one community, not two communities, one community. And everybody have a right to their opinion, but guess what? At the end of the day, the job is being done. The job is being done, and we as people appreciate the school board for doing their job. It's never easy, right? We could have a different of opinion, but we don't want to fall out. Because at the end of the day, it affects everybody. Students, families, communities, teaching staff, all of us. And every school on Long Island is having some of the same problems this school is having. Stop saying that this school here is failing, right? They're doing the best they can with what they have. And in order to succeed, it takes everybody to put together to make it work. It's easy to fight and discuss, but it's hard to come together and work out our differences. We could disagree on a lot of things, but let's look at the facts. Let's look at some of the facts and be honest and stop saying a person or one person. Person deserves respect. If that be your mother, that be your grandmother, your father, you want someone to respect them. That's point blank. If somebody call your parents out of the name, you be mad with them. Give the superintendent the same respect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Nakia Wolf, ATA president. First and foremost, I would like to thank the board and all of central administration for recognizing and honoring our falling member. Greatly appreciated. Had the opportunity to work with Mr. Tooney when I was a co-teacher for an ICT class. He was my partner teacher. And being here as many years as I have, I was actually able to benefit from some of his mentorship and guidance in a lot of different ways. So I thank you for showing that type of compassion to our member. On a different note, we can already tell that this meeting is going to follow another disgusting trend that it has, that tends to be what it is that we do. I'm really not surprised why it is. That is very hard for individuals, why it's very hard for us to find individuals to come and work here, because I can't imagine sitting and listening to the type of disrespect that continues to happen at every single board meeting.
Excuse me, no,
No,
thank you, no call in the community, thank you.
irrespective to whether or not you agree or disagree, to ask somebody what it is that they're done, you can't even tell them what it is that they didn't do as far as moving the school district forward. You can't tell me whether or not this person who came in when the district was already in a negative position, when the school district was trying to implement and make some changes as it relates to school and school achievement. I find it very interesting that individuals who once said that the board was overreaching under a different superintendent and that you were trying to micromanage your superintendent is now calling for a superintendent to not be here when they came in to try to fix what it is that we obviously created before it is that they got here. Irrespective to whether or not you want this person or not, you cannot just associate blame to someone who has not done anything yet other than to help make some incremental growth. It is not true that our students can't read or write. Our students have made growth. Is it the growth that we would like to see? It's very hard to do without any consistency. We already lost a business official, not because of anything that they did, because they just got here, because they were fired, and then went through a job application, then went through an interview process, and it wasn't like that this person was one of the finalists. So we wanted to extend it, and the person left. So what exactly are you setting up for anybody to want to come in here and think that anyone who is on the board can turn around and rescind their appointments?
Thank you, time is up. Thank you.
Hi, Margaret Schaff, Amityville. I really don't have anything prepared, but it has to do with this add-on agenda item of extending the superintendent when for months on end, I looked you all in the face and said, where's the art, request for quotes for a search firm? You stood there, no, we hadn't done it yet. No, we're slow walking. We're slow walking. You do it every which way to Sunday. You avoided the question, and now we know why, because I could have bet a lottery. I could have won a lottery on this bet. But the fact that there's 2 teachers on this board, past retired teachers, whatever the case may be, and can sit here with a straight face and look everybody in this audience with a straight face and say, yeah, I'm gonna put a superintendent back on track for 2 more years. That's made absolutely horrific strides, slashed heads, was in a deficit, and cut and trim the fat at people's livelihoods. The stats of the children are not good. You have to look at facts versus feelings, irrespective of how I feel. I feel that I know that I heard in this room that the children of this district are 3 levels below grade level. So as teachers on this board, voting in a superintendent that has done nothing to raise the bar in this district is absolutely mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. You can sit here and say, yes, what have you done? You haven't done anything positive to raise the bar, to attract teachers, to raise the culture, to answer questions, to think on your feet, to do any of the things that a leader should represent. I see 0 leadership skills, and it's not because I feel that way. It's because it's a fact. So all the facts are here. The shady crap is bubbling up in front of our eyes with these add-on agendas, adding a 500 grand for someone who's ineffective day in and day out. And I stood at this podium and she sat right there, and we begged them not to vote her in because she had a crappy record before and her record stands crappy now.
Please, no calling out. Thank you.
Hello, I just wanted to address a couple of things. It's astonishing to me that a union president would disparage residents and taxpayers that come to these meetings to advocate on behalf of students, the district, and the residents. The Constitution allows us to redress our grievances in government, and that's exactly the right that we're doing right now. As for somebody saying, the superintendent does the best they can with what they have. What in the world does that mean? Does that mean our students aren't good enough? Or we have low expectations for our students? Does that mean our staff and our teachers aren't doing well? I mean, what does that even mean? The students are capable of anything. With the right tools and the right foundation, sky is the limit. It comes down to leadership. Leadership with the superintendent and leadership with the board. Is one person to blame? Well, that one person happens to be the CEO of the district. They make the recommendations to the board. The board is the safeguard for the students and for the residents. The board has failed those safeguards. I sat on this board. I was privy to things that nobody else in this audience was. We had unqualified candidates being presented to the Board of Education without even job experience, pertinent job experience. Why can't we get them? Our job postings sometimes are 10 days, not 30 days like other districts. It does come down to the superintendent.
So thank you very much. At this point in time, community input on agenda items is now over. All right. And we're going to go ahead and proceed with the agenda. We're going to go over to review of the agenda for March 18th. Just give me one moment, please. All right, so I will start with anything with 1B or C.
So as far as the next budget presentation, what is the suggested approach to the budget presentation? For March 18th, because I know we're doing the line by line on Saturday.
Yes, so the budget presentation will continue on March 18th. We've had some preliminary discussions as to how to transition from what was to where we are now. And Mr. Dragon, you can update the board just a little bit on our discussions as to what we will present on the 18th.
Well, first of all, I'm looking very much forward.
Just do me a favor, you gotta bring the mic like way closer to you.
Really close.
Yes, thank you.
I'm looking very much forward to Saturday for a discussion to understand the board's concerns. One of the things that Dr. Talbot and I have talked about is the necessity for us to get a handle on fund balance, because we've had a history in the district of a deficit and followed by a large surplus. So I want to present first to you on Saturday my best estimate of what the surplus will be from this year's budget. Thank you. For the presentation on March 18th, I did watch online the line-by-line presentation from last year to get some sense of what it is that the board would be looking for. I'm hoping that we can organize the discussion so that we can talk about the big ticket items, the large impact items, and quite frankly, those items are staffing.
Sure.
So I'm hoping to organize the presentations so that we can have serious discussions about staff. And there are a number of new ideas that I know have been developed by members of the staff here. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet, but we will present those to you as well as items that we're going to propose be added. And then my experience in presenting budgets has been very different, perhaps, than some of the experiences that you've had. I know that when I was first here, 4 years ago now, I spent a good deal of time trying to make the budget presentation more transparent. I will attempt to continue to do that so that you have some sense not just of the dollar amount in the lines, but what that dollar amount buys us. So I don't know, Megan, if that answers your question, but
Well, it's helpful since you're new to the table here. So just to kind of talk about the next meetings on Saturday and the 18th. And for Saturday, I don't recall if I have a hard copy of what we're going to be going over. So is that something that we're going to walk in and we're going to?
you have not received it yet. My intention is to send it home to you as soon as possible, no later than Friday, obviously, so that you have it in advance. It's my hope that we can get it to you tomorrow night. But, you know, looking at $120 million budget in just a few hours that I've been here, it's a little bit difficult for me to make a comprehensive presentation and have it ready for you tomorrow night. I'm going to try.
Okay. So, but are you suggesting that we should move the line by line to a later date or just to?
That's not my call. If the Board of Education wants to do that, I'm more than willing to do that.
So when we get to, Mr. Besson, when we get to back to the other agenda and we get to like new business, if we want to bring it up then at that point in time. So I didn't mean to interrupt you as we move.
Well, I guess, because we're talking about 318 as far as like what we would be presenting. And so we kind of backtracked and talked about 372, because at our last meeting, I don't know, February 11th-ish, I had asked that for today, that we would talk about the recommendations of what to do with the current surplus. So that's a different topic that the board has to discuss too, because we have to make a decision as to where all of that money goes before June 30th. And then I had also requested that the board would see what the expenditures would be for 26, 27 with contractual increases only. So we haven't seen that yet. And then there's also been discussion about, do we need to go to the top of the tax cap? Do we need to do any increase in tax? And for the board to see what that budget option would look like as well. So, and I'm not saying that you're going to have that all for Saturday, but I'm just trying to understand really what the timeline is now. And what we would expect to see for 3/18, but maybe you don't have a firm answer yet.
No, I would offer to you that the idea of offering a zero tax levy increase,
A little bit closer to the mic.
thank you, makes every business official shiver. The
We heard
reason
that.
being, let's assume for a moment that our tax levy is $80 million. And let's assume that we don't increase the levy by 1% or 2%. Yes, the following year, taxpayers would enjoy a 800,000 or maybe $1.6 million relief. But that relief would be a hole in every budget for every year beyond that. So I am concerned that we not use our savings accounts, which is what our reserves really are, to balance the budget in the immediate future and really mortgage the long-term future for our children. But that's just off the top of my head. If the way I do approach it is that we should be looking at reducing the budget to the extent that we can still provide the educational services that our children need and have money in reserve for unanticipated expenditures in the future.
Okay, thank you. So that's something else that I've been hoping to understand, is that because we went from a deficit to a substantial surplus, and then what do we actually need to run the school district? And that's where I had started to ask the question of, well, how are we going to end this year? What are we going to have as our fund balance at the end of this year? We were given a projected range. You may have a different projected range.
In fact, if I may, Rich Snyder gave you a range of between 2.5 and $4 million, I understand. And we promised to give you an update at the end of February.
Mhm.
So Tuesday night, after my first day here, I reported to Dr. Talbot at about 11 o'clock at night that I had just finished a projection of fund balance, and my projection came up to 3.2 million. In other words, we are going to leave unexpended in this budget $3.2 million, which is roughly about 2.5% to 3% of the budget.
Mhm.
And I don't know about you, but 97% is a pretty good grade. So I think that the budget is in good shape.
Mhm.
We are going to have a surplus. I have no doubt about that. But it's not going to be in the $10 million range.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yes.
I mean, I'd rather, I actually want to use the budget, right?
And even
if
better-
we're going to ask the taxpayers for the money, let's spend the money on the students and the
Even
staff.
better, it won't be a $3.5 million deficit.
Well, yes, of course.
Right.
There are a lot of line items in the appropriations report, which does also still link back to the March 18th agenda that are in the negative. And another thing that had been discussed was that February was going to be a month of kind of shuffling that and correcting that. So how does the board do a line by line if we don't actually know what each line really needs?
So I think, I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second, Trustee Messman. One of the things that I mentioned earlier on is that when we get back to the March 4th agenda and we are under new business, maybe one thing that we can do at that point in time is just decide. We can decide if we want to move the line by line, because Joe DeGone just started really today. I mean, I think he was in the building yesterday, but he really just started today. So
I was here Tuesday.
right. So this is really sort of today is the second day. So we just need to really sort of ask that question, because there's a lot of things that people were asking for, and he's getting up to speed. So to really do the due diligence to make sure we have the information that we need ahead of time, number one, I think it's really having the information ahead of time, because even if we got the line by line on Friday, it's still I know last year, I think we got it sooner than that. It was like maybe a week ahead, and we had time to really go through it. So I do hear you. So I'm just saying that let's move that discussion back to the March 4th agenda and decide about moving the line by line. So let's stay focused on the review of the agenda for March 18th. And we can continue the discussion about the moving of the line by line when we get back to the March 4th and we are doing the new business. Okay.
I did have a comment for Mr. Joe Dragone, and it'll be short-winded, I promise. So a couple things that you mentioned. Number one, we are going to have a surplus, right? On top of the $10.6 million from the 24-25, correct? That's what it looks like?
We're gonna
No.
have, we're gonna have a budget surplus this year because we have not fully expended all of the appropriations in this year's budget.
Perfect, leaving us with approximately 3%. Like you said, 97 is a good grade. Okay, so you also mentioned pulling from savings accounts to pay for the balance. That's exactly what this district experienced 3 years ago when it ran what's called an operating deficit, right? On paper, we were in the red, but we pulled from reserves to make it not in the red, operating deficit. Year after that, we experienced one of the worst deficits in Amityville's history, followed by one of the largest in Amityville history. One of the largest surpluses in Amityville history. So these past 3 years have been turbulent, to say the least. And I think what you're trying to do is find the ground. Okay? So my question is this: whenever you get your bearings and you find the ground and you understand what it is we're facing, some board members, myself included, would like to see a scenario with a 0% tax levy increase, because we have a record-breaking $10.6 million surplus that we are sitting on. And some people, and probably even some people believe, it's easy to believe that you've been overtaxed if we have that kind of surplus. So in one of our last, and this isn't on Mr. Dragone, because I know you're just walking in the door, but some of the options that have been presented to us with this $10.6 million surplus: one, fund our depleted reserves. So that's something that we need a good understanding of. And that's something that the board needs to have an open discussion about, because that's something that's going to project for us for years, hopefully in a good way. Number two, we can use some funds to fund needed capital projects. So we need to know what they are, right? Listen, there's always going to be more work and more expenses than what we have money for. It happens. We never have enough money for everything we want to do. We know that, but that's why you have a plan. So Joe, all I'm asking is, in your deliberations and your studies and the things that you're doing, please show us what a 0% tax levy could possibly look like.
Thank you. So any other questions regarding the March 18th agenda for 1B or C 1 and 2? If not, I'm going to go over to agenda item 2A 1 through 3. Any questions on agenda items 2A 1 through 3?
I don't have any other questions on the agenda.
Okay. Any questions regarding agenda item 3A1? Any questions? I'm going to just kind of loop it together regarding agenda item 3B1. 3B1A, 2A and B, 3, 4A, all the way down to SS. Any questions on that section at all? I'm assuming for SS that hopefully it will get it has the TBD. We'll get more information on that as we move closer to the March 18th. Okay. So 3B, 5A and B, 7A through K, 9A through F, and 10A through C. Any questions or comments on those sections at all?
I'm not sure which one has the recovs appointments, but we have some 30-odd recovs additional appointments. Can we just speak to that a little bit?
Dr. Talbot?
Ms. Stevens, would you like to provide the update regarding recovs after school, lunch, Saturdays?
Yes, these are additional programs in addition to what you did approve. So specifically, the lunch will be at the high school for students who can benefit more from during the school day support. Some of them work after school or participate in activities that make it more difficult for them to attend the after school program. So we are implementing it in the lunch periods. Most of the after school ones, I believe, are additional programs to support additional content areas. The proposals came in after the last board meeting, so these were additional postings.
Thank you for expanding on that. How is the Saturday attendance? Because I think Wanya had actually questions, like if we're seeing that there's not, decent attendance on Saturday, if we would reevaluate.
So the Saturday program began last Saturday. I did stop in. There were the students we expected to attend, and then some who attended who didn't realize that it was by invitation. So we are working with the schools. So attendance was good on that first day. We continue to monitor it. We have small groups to make sure students are getting what they need, but we will not be running anything that's too low to be efficient.
Okay. I'm sorry, can I just, I don't expect you to have actual attendance numbers tonight, but would you be able to share that with the board at some
Yes,
point?
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on any of these agenda items? Going down to agenda item 3C 1 through 4. Any questions on these agenda items? Any questions on agenda item 3D1 or 3E1A or 3F1 and 2?
Question on 3F2.
Go ahead.
This is for Bright Minds Consulting. I was wondering if we have any projected attendance. I know the district has run similar events where district employees have run these events, and wondering what the attendance was on those similar events. And then there'll be multilingual services at these events?
I'll ask Ms. Stevens to elaborate. Those events are intentional and providing great services on Saturday.
Right. So this is part, the Bright Minds would be supporting the parent program that we're offering on Saturdays. We are very intentional about the Saturday program that we are housing it at the middle school. We found that to be the most centrally located building that we had that families would be able to attend. And all programs are running from the middle school, which saves on the overhead costs. But it also enables us to address parents who have children in multiple buildings and meet the needs of everybody at one time. So to your question, our parent liaisons have been monitoring similar programs, and they have small but steady attendance. And we think that when we're addressing all of the buildings in one location, we will have greater attendance for that. There will be multilingual support. The presenter is bilingual, and then we do have support available in addition to that, so that we can give one-on-one support. We also did meet with the PTAs to ask them to help us in getting the word out. So we're making personal contact with families. Our family liaisons are letting them know about the opportunity. So we do expect it to be successful. Again, the target is learning loss. So it's helping build the capacity of parents to ensure that they're supporting their students and know how to do that. But we're also looking at topics that will attract them to come in. So we do expect success, and I look forward to reporting that out to you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, any other questions in these areas?
I just have a question about Recov. Just want to go back to that. What's the ratio size group for Recov?
We're looking at 10 students to 1 teacher for the groups.
Thank you.
There's no more questions regarding the March 18th agenda. I'm going to move over back to the March 4th agenda. All right, going back to the March 4th agenda, can I have a motion for agenda item 2C2, which is the resolution for the extension of the superintendent's contract for 2 years.
Motion.
Second. Carol Seehoff is first. Leslie Kretz is second. A discussion on this, just for a little clarity on it. With the extension of the contract, I stated the salary was $251,125 for the first year. That will be an increase of $5,000 for the first year, and for the second year, it's $257,403, and that would be an increase of $6,000. So it's not an increase of $500,000. It would be an increase of $11,000 total. Any other comments or discussion on this item?
I have a brief comment. At this time, my vote on this matter has not changed. I remain comfortable with the decision previously made to move towards obtaining new district leadership. I feel that this is in the best interest of the students and reflects the community who elected me to serve as their voice. Additionally, in executive session, I provided the board with a viable schedule outlining the steps to obtain new district leadership after the 4 trustee seats are filled in May. 4 trustee seats would reflect a new board majority, one way or the other, whoever that majority agreed with or didn't agree with. This schedule included placement of a new superintendent and a permanent assistant superintendent of business and finance prior to September, which I felt also would reflect the community's voice in allowing the new board to be involved with this critical decision process. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments on this?
Yes, I have a comment. Just in response to the fact that the 4 seats are up this year, and waiting for those 4 people to make that decision. The people that are currently sitting on the board were also voted to make decisions, and they were expected to do that within the time period that they're here and to make the decisions based on what they feel is best for the district. If they were to wait for the next group to make that decision, then what would the point of them being here in the first place be?
So, any other comments on this at all?
I just want to say that as a past educator for many, many years and monitoring what has happened in the district since Dr. Talbot has arrived and speaking with majority community members as well as staff, administrators, I'm very comfortable with my decision tonight to extend Dr. Talbot's contract.
Any other questions or comments on this? All right, all those, all those in, excuse me, please stop, excuse me, please stop from both, please, everyone, I'm applauding, whatever comments, everyone, please stop. Thank you. So have a vote on agenda item 2C2. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All those opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Motion carries 4-2. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3B1A?
Motion.
Second.
Carol Seehoff is first, Chris Nairn is second. This is in regard to Brendan McGlon, who would be the pit director from March 25th to June 30th. All those in, any other discussion on this item? I'm sorry.
No discussion.
All those in
Not for me.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
One opposed.
Motion carries 5-1. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3C1, which is to accept the use of the town of Brookhaven facilities?
Second.
Leslie Kretz is first, Chris Nairn is second, and once again, that is for the use of facilities with town of Brookhaven, and I read the resolution before. Any discussions or questions on this particular item?
Not here.
I think just for clarity, Dr. Talbot, this is with the baseball team and the use of facilities for games because it's the use with the lights, correct? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries 6-0. We're down to old business and new business. I think I'm just going to jump on the, go ahead.
I have new business, so if anybody has old business.
Mine is new business too. I just want to, go ahead.
Just seeing the amount of snow that we recently had and the impact that this has made on every single parking lot and roadway and sidewalk. Just wondering if and when we'll be able to see what financial impact that has had. Obviously, that has, at least in my opinion, I'm assuming it clearly blew past our snow removal line in the budget. Because years past, we haven't had anywhere close to this amount of snow. But I'm also wondering what additional cost this is going to be as far as repairing parking lots and anything like that. Over time, yeah, so, anything of that sort.
So a very good question. We are certainly touring the district to see what the impact of the snow has been. Some of the surfaces are still covered, the track being one, and we will be discussing some of our preliminary proposals to the board regarding the track as well. In terms of overtime, those line items have already exceeded the allotted amount. As we had previously explained, when the $2 million had not been granted in deposit from the Assemblyman's office, we were asked to continue to reduce the budget by $2 million. In doing so, those overtime budgets were further slashed and reduced. We are aware of that, and transfers are being analyzed, encumbrances just today are being further analyzed. And so we will have an update for the board as transfers are being done and being brought before the board to let you know where we stand. But definitely, there's been some impact from the snow, from the trees to the parking lots. And of course, with our HVAC systems, heating system has certainly been working overtime, particularly when the temperatures were, I want to say, below freezing. Yes, so we will be providing you with updates with that as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just going back to Trustee Mesman was talking about the line by line this Saturday. I just want the board to think about the possibility of moving that, because with the information that we need to review, this just to get everything on Friday. But now it's just, we just need to find another day in order to do it. So the question I would have is, are we looking to try to do it before the next meeting on March 18th? Are we looking to try to do it afterwards? So I think that becomes the question. That's number one. Number two, before I give it to the board, I just want to ask Dr. Talbot and really, do we think that if we said the following Saturday to the 14th, that would give enough time? Because that we still would need to get things to us as a board at least by midweek next week, by like next Tuesday or Wednesday. So therefore we have at least 3 days to review it, even longer. So the question is, do we want to wait until after the 18th to do the line by line? And that's really, let's be realistic about it. Or do we want to give it until after the meeting on the 18th, do that following Saturday? And then that way we will have everything for at least 7 days, to really look at, and then be able to come to the meeting prepared. So I'm not too sure what, first of all, does that sound feasible, Dr. Talbot? And then I can pass it over to the board.
So I know it would depend upon all of us calibrating our calendars. I can make myself available on the following Saturday, March 14th. But that, of course, is contingent upon our new finance and operations assistant super being available.
I'll be available any day, literally.
Okay, great.
Any day the board
Great.
wants me to be available.
Thank you. So that would certainly give us some additional time to prepare a line by line budget for the board that would be a little more prone to what we've been discussing. So we think we can guide you through the process with a little more clarity. I don't know if everyone can check their calendars and see if that date's available.
Can I really push it? What about March 21st?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
I'm just asking. So we're looking at, oh, hold on.
Well, it's very important.
Yeah. No, I was just kind of looking at it. That's also March 14th. I'm just asking everyone to take a look at their calendar and, would you be available on March 14th? Tell your family that you can't come home. No.
Or better yet, bring your family. They can learn something about budgets.
I'm just joking. Sorry about that.
No, the joke is fine.
Okay.
There's no offense.
Okay. All right. So I'll start this way. Leslie, are you?
I'm better on that day.
Megan?
I would appreciate a little bit of time to look at what we're gonna get.
So March
first
14th,
of-
okay.
yes.
Yes.
I believe so. I'm just kind of questionable. I have to see what I can move around, but I
Okay.
wouldn't base it on my attendance.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just have to check a family obligation.
All right.
Have to get back
So
to you.
I would say, like, let's tentatively move it to the 14th. I would love the whole board to be here. I just think this Saturday is just too short because we don't have anything to look at right now at all.
Right.
It has been
I
a-
agree. And also out of respect for Mr. Dragon, who just stepped into the position, I would like him to have something meaningful for us as well that would be useful for us.
And I think also what will be helpful is that there were some good points that have been brought up from tonight and other times. And even if we could email some of those points to Joe Dragon, so therefore he can look at that when he's going to be addressing the line by line. So that will be helpful as well for everyone.
I just want to say, if I can't make the 14th, I will definitely meet with Mr. Dragon to go over it.
And
Real close.
yes, thank you for reminding me. So I would be, I know that one, from your reaction, Megan, your reaction, that you think March 21st is too late. Let me just remind you that the board has until the third week of April, April 24th, approximately, before they have to adopt the budget to be presented to the community. You have until May 12th to conduct the budget hearing, which is really not a hearing. It's a report to the community on the budget that you've adopted. So if you, I personally want Steve to be there. He knows the human resources aspect of this budget, which is 70% of the expense, better than I will ever know. So I would suggest to you, provided that Dr. Talbot and Ms. Stevens can also make it, that we move to the 21st.
Should we,
Well,
Should
if I can, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead,
I
no,
didn't
no,
touch
you-
it. Well, the only thing I wanted to say was that we established a timeline because in the past, some board members might have felt that some things were rushed. We didn't have enough time to look at things, respond, go back and forth. And then before we knew it, the date of adoption came. That's why we set up a schedule.
Gotcha. So I promise that if you move to March 21st, you will have it at least a week in advance.
So I'm really gonna push it because the 21st is not good for me at all. What, I'm sorry, what about March 28th? Are you guys available? Are you guys available?
I don't know if we would want to wait that long.
should we just, I know like last year was the first year we did it on Saturday and we really didn't have that many people here. Should we just go back to doing it on a Wednesday evening?
So maybe what we can do, so I don't want to hold up the community,
I mean, my
let's,
memory, I don't remember
yeah,
that many.
no. Right, so what I'm saying is that let's everyone look at their calendars and before we
Yeah.
go, we can, let's
Right,
everyone look at the calendars and
Try
that
to
way we can.
align a
Yeah,
day.
Yes,
Yeah,
maybe
so-
even it's like the 25th of, so let's look at the calendars, that way we keep moving along. Right? That way everyone can look at all their calendars, that would be the most
I
important.
really appreciate that, Ms. Jensen. Thank you.
All right, any other
So-
old or new business? Yeah, let's cancel the posting and then we can look at that way everyone can look at calendars, okay? Any other old or new business?
Yes. Yes, I would like to amend the agenda to add that motion. I guess that would be under what, 4-1? Or 5-1?
We're trying to do.
With the
Oh,
play.
we had already added that. I guess we
I
didn't call it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay,
So
all right.
just-
So
just
we're under
go back
5,
to it?
correct?
No, it would be,
We just go back to 2C3 because that's what we added it as.
yeah, it'll be, I'm sorry, it was 2C3, I missed that one. I'll go back and we'll vote on it. Sorry about it.
Okay, all right. Sure.
Yeah, we may have to suspend the policy because we took it out of the policy. It's that policy that's there, that's from 20.
It's from 2013.
But
and
it's an old policy. So new policy that we did, we took it out. We took, yeah, we did. We took out for the employee, we took
Yeah,
out
we
for,
did.
Yes, we did.
We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, so,
So we're gonna
all
have
right,
to
so,
suspend that
all right,
policy.
all right,
and then-
I know what to do. I know what to do. Just let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a couple of old business.
Yeah.
Old business.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still with the old business, yeah.
So, Dr. Talbot, could you speak to the status of implementing a grade 3 through 6 gifted program for 26-27, and is that accounted for in the balanced budget that we've preliminarily been presented?
The 26-27 budget does not take into account for a gifted program.
I believe that we passed a resolution past June to incorporate that. And at first it was for this school year, but we said, okay, let's figure out how to incorporate it for the 26-27 school year.
Okay.
Okay.
So I know that Ms. Stevenson can provide us with an update. We've had a number of discussions about next steps regarding that.
Okay. So the Park Avenue building has formed a committee. They are examining programs in other districts, whether they run during the school day, before school, after school. They're looking at the criteria for entering the programs. They're identifying at what grade level that begins. They are looking, I'm sorry, within the criteria, the measures that they're using. So there are a number of aspects that they're working on to determine what would be appropriate for Park Avenue and what they can do with their existing resources and what they would need budget support on.
Okay, so when do you expect to understand the feedback from that committee?
They are currently working on recommendations. Mr. Playa is leading that committee.
Okay, so maybe if you can advise us on the timeline for that so that we can understand the feedback. Thank you. A few meetings ago, I had questions evaluating summer program options. Is there an update that could be provided on that?
Okay, can you, okay, go ahead.
So we continue to look at any grants that would be available to provide programs for enrichment. We don't currently have any that we're working on. I have been working with the SCOPE program. We are working on an agreement with the district for SCOPE to provide services for the month of July. Parents could sign up on a week-by-week basis for the month of July. The cost right now is approximately $210 per week. So we're just finalizing agreements with SCOPE for that to happen. As we mentioned at the last budget presentation, one of the items that we did put in was a summer bridge program for students who are transitioning from one building to the next, just to identify any gaps they might have in learning and also get them used to their new building and orient them.
Right, and when's that occurring? In August then? Or because if you're doing SCOPE in July?
Right, we did meet this week to review the calendar. We are looking at July dates for that. And I'm sorry, August dates for that.
Okay.
And then for high school, we are looking at partnering with BOCES to do the high school summer school program.
Thank you. So I think that I would suggest, and I don't know if it's for the board to weigh in on, that we expand the SCOPE agreement to be able to offer after school or early morning support as well throughout the school year.
So that is part of the discussion that I am having with SCOPE. I'm not as close to an agreement on that, but they do have two programs, a childcare program and then an educationally based program. They run differently with different pricing options. We are able to run both of those programs. The before school program will be a little bit more difficult just because of the timing of our buildings and the structure of their program. In the end, it would just be whether families found that to be cost effective and if we could get the numbers. So they require 15 students per building to run the program. So if families found that to be useful for them, then we could pursue an agreement with them.
So is that something that you intend to, once you get all the answers, put out a survey to gauge commitment or interest?
So SCOPE actually did work with me on the survey so that we could put that out there and let families understand the options between a childcare option and an educational option and what the cost would be for those.
All right, thank you. And when will the news about the July SCOPE option be transmitted, or has it already?
So we have a flyer prepared, but we are just waiting on the agreement, which I assume the board would have to vote on, right? The agreement.
Oh, we have to, yes. Okay, so hope maybe for the March 18th meeting, is that the hope?
Yes, we've been working for some time on the agreement, so it's with legal, and as soon as they release and clear it, we will bring it to the board.
Okay, thank you very much.
I just had a quick comment. I wanted to second what trustee Messman said about the scope services. In absence of not having grant funding for some of the students, I think scope would be an excellent idea, especially after school. If you want to also look in the morning and see if that's also a viable option, but especially after school.
Okay, I have one more, sorry. Another thing that I had raised, and I'm sure that needs more time, but I don't know what the next steps are, was can we incorporate a reduction in the use of Chromebooks for 26, 27? And what sort of steps would that entail as far as implementing, and what implementation could look like?
So as a part of our remote learning plan, we've been having in-depth discussions with administrators who've been discussing these options also with our staff. As a part of the Superintendent Student Leadership Council, when the students polled the various students at the schools, they wanted more of a balance between paper and Chromebooks. So we are in the process of discussions and what that would look like from school to school and grade to grade. So as we get closer to something more tangible, we will certainly share it with the board, but it's a transition that's in progress.
Okay, so and we would hope to implement this for 26, 27. That would be excellent. So I just have a new business.
No, go ahead.
But John's not here, so I'm just gonna say my new business. I just wanted to talk about how we had the 4 seats on the ballot, and just to make sure that I understood that would the candidate that receives the lowest votes then fill the 1-year seat?
No, it's the candidate with the highest vote will
Because-
start right away to fill that 1-year seat. It's not the lowest.
Because
vote.
it's like open immediately, the 1-year
Yeah.
seat, even
Yeah.
though it's only 1 year.
Yes,
So the candidate that's
with the
most
highest,
desired by the community only gets 1 year.
yes, the highest vote, yes.
I just wanted to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think that is a legal question because if I was that candidate, I might opt to have the 3-year term.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't want to run 2 years in a row.
Right, so I think that's maybe a question for legal that we can get sorted
We can
out.
definitely give it to legal. I'm almost certain that that is the way that it goes, because there was conversation that I know the district clerk has had. So but we will ask Mr. Sheenan and in that particular question. So, because that's what happened last year, and that's why Juan started right away last year, because he filled, no, it wasn't Juan. No, it was,
No, you're right. Juan was the highest vote getter, so
right. So
so he took that seat. So
That
he
seat.
technically finished the previous trustee's term that I was filling.
Right, exactly.
But then that seat was up for that election, so that's why he stayed on, and now he's in for the 3-year term.
Exactly.
So
Correct,
it's
but
slightly different
Right,
with this circumstance.
that's correct, but that's a unique situation because you were also appointed.
Right, which is
So it's
why
not-
you
it's
took
not
over
a
right
true
away.
vacancy. Yeah,
But
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll check with
yeah,
John.
legal will sort it out for us.
All right, any other new or old business? Any other old or new business?
Do you want me to call it now? Okay. All right. So here's what's going on. Madam President, I originally wanted to call a motion to authorize the superintendent of schools to fly the flag at the Amityville Memorial High School at half-staff for 5 consecutive school days in honor of Mr. Donald Toomey. And that's also based off the policy that is right now on our website, which I thought was the most up to date. I'm being told that it's not, even though we did have this discussion last summer, so I was part of it. So either way, I'm asking for a motion for the board to suspend that policy so that I can call this motion. Okay. So I'm asking the Board of Education to suspend the current display of flag regulation, which is 4311.1R, which the new policy does not allow for the superintendent to fly the flag at half-staff for the situation. And I would like to ask my fellow board members to approve allowing the superintendent to fly the flag at half-staff for 5 consecutive days in honor of Mr. Donald Toomey. Is there a motion?
Okay,
Is there a
just
second?
get clarification. Is this one motion that is covering both items?
I try to keep it simple.
No, I'm just making sure I understand. The motion.
So the motion is to suspend the policy, to suspend the current policy and to fly the flag in honor of Donald Toomey for 5 days. So that's correct?
That's correct.
I just want to make sure. All right.
Motion.
All right, so Carol Seehoff is first.
Second.
Oh, Juan Leon is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Matt, sorry.
I'm sorry,
No.
did I hear everyone?
Opposed.
I said aye.
I'm sorry, okay. So it's 5-1, right? And I just want to make sure, because we already amended the agenda to add it to the item 2C3. We did that earlier. So now we're just voting on the 2C3. Oh, no.
That was the vote.
Yeah.
We voted earlier to amend the
Right,
agenda.
that's what I'm just.
Put it on there. So that was the true vote of the
Right,
item.
that's what I was just stating, that we had already did it earlier. So now we're just doing the vote part.
Right.
So,
Sure. Madam President, I just wanted to read these two sentences where it's the previous policy. It reads, flags on individual buildings will be flown at half-staff for 5 consecutive school days. If a present employee or student in that building passes away, the flag shall be flown at half-staff the day of the funeral and of any former employee well known in the district at the discretion of the superintendent. So even though the new policy did remove that, maybe it can be revisited for certain situations such as this.
I understand. I know that, if I recall correctly, some of the concern was, it says at the discretion of the superintendent. So I think that was some of the concerns of, would the flag be flown for everyone? But thank you so much for bringing it up. Right, are there any?
Just seeking clarity, the flag will be flown at half-staff at Amityville Memorial High School only.
Correct, at half-staff for 5 consecutive school days.
All right, any other new or old business? Okay. All right, so now I'm going back to community input regarding non-board agenda items. And just as a reminder, when people come to the mic, according to the policy, please conduct yourselves in a civil manner. We haven't had any obscene language, but be mindful of defamatory statements. There hasn't been any threats of violence. Statements advocating for racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice will not be tolerated. Right. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. I come before you tonight as a resident, alumni, and someone who genuinely cares about the success of our schools.
Please no calling out. Thank you. Excuse me, just stay focused here. Please no calling out. Thank you.
Okay, let me start again. I come before you today as a resident, alumni, and someone who genuinely cares deeply about the success of our schools. Strong school districts are built on stability and consistency. Real progress in education does not happen overnight. It takes time, planning, and leadership that is supported so that initiatives can be implemented and results can be seen. This is why I want to acknowledge the trustees who made the thoughtful decision tonight regarding leadership. Walking on the resolution to extend the superintendent's contract was a responsible step that provides the stability to continue moving the district forward. Again, leadership should be supported, progress should be protected, and our students should always come before personal agendas. Congratulations, Dr. Gina Talbert. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Just pause it and reset it again first. Go ahead.
Good evening, Cheryl Quintine, Bass 4 Delaware Avenue. Congratulations, Dr. Talbert. I admire your poise, your professionalism. And to think that you come here almost every meeting and there's like a wrestling match going on. The unfortunate thing is with a wrestling match, there's a winner and there's a loser. When we come here, we're playing with the lives of our students, and there are no winners. We're all losers. Our students lose. And I would like to know, what can I do? What can the community do so that we can have meetings that are filled with respect and cordiality? Is there anything that I can do? If there is, and it's not every trustee on the board, what can I do? How can we as the community help you to have meetings that the public can come to, that we can come to and spend hours here to make our contribution? How can we help you to make this a place that seems sane? Because sometimes it's pure insanity, all the badgering that's going on. How can we expect to attract and maintain the best candidates in this school district if when they have to face several members of the board, they're badgered? Think about it. Would you want to go into a place of employment and be badgered every single day? Would you stay? You wouldn't. I wouldn't stay. Dr. Talbert came at a time when we were at our lowest. And rather than supporting her, she had to make difficult decisions, cutting staff, balancing a budget where there was no budget. But yet still, we want to say she's done nothing. She's inefficient, she's unprofessional. Who are we to say that? Where's your expertise? Is it all about dollars and cents? Because let me tell you something. Whilst my dollars, I'm a taxpayer, my children came to school in this district. They did not go to private school. They came to school and they've all met with their own successes. And if I had to do it again, I would do it. Because this school district is filled with teachers and staff who are dedicated. I'm a teacher. I know what it takes. My job does not switch off. The job of a superintendent does not switch off. I would do it again. And I want for other families and their children who come to school in this district, not who go to private school, who come to school in this district to benefit like my children have benefited.
Excuse me, your time,
Address
excuse
the
me.
speakers
Excuse
looking
me.
right at me.
Excuse me, your time is up.
Thank you. So I
Thank
just
you.
want to say congratulations, and I
Thank
do
you.
respect your fortitude, because this is a challenge to sit here sometimes, some nights.
I understand Mr. Dragon is brand new to the position. Thank you for stepping up, because the situation is dire in terms of
You
when.
just have to direct it towards me first as a
Okay.
president.
When the budget, now we have a new director under duress because, you know, we're very close to the deadline. But there's been a citizen committee that was formed that was working alongside your former predecessor. And this is a robust group of volunteers that have spent countless hours poring over financials to serve as a valuable resource to Mr. Snyder, and now as a valuable resource to Mr. Dragon. So it's not that he doesn't have resources available. There are a wealth of information that's poured for hours, line by line. And there's a lot of questions that still exist in regards to those line by line items because they need to be accounted for. And unfortunately, a lot of those questions probably went with Mr. Snyder. However, that committee wasn't even notified of his departure, nor have they been contacted and asked for their contributions to share what they do have to offer to this community. School budgeting, planning. It's a valuable resource. My business partner is part of that committee. There's a number of well-respected people and professionals in this community that have valuable information to help you prepare your budgets and answer any questions to bridge that gap. Have you reached out to them or have you been notified of who they are and how to contact them?
So you're asking the, so go ahead, Dr. Talbot.
There's a meeting scheduled March 31st, which Mr. Dracon will be contacting the committee to reschedule that meeting very soon. He has been briefed on the
That's still running.
willingness and the expertise that that committee brings to the table. And he's looking forward to continuing the work that Mr. Snyder carried on when he was here. So you will be receiving some notifications soon. This is his first day today.
Okay.
I watched
I
the clock.
could if
I'm
I
fine.
could
I got it.
reclaim some time.
I will.
I personally am not on that budget committee. There is a meeting that's going to be consulting with all of you line by line that he's preparing for. Their valuable insight as part of the Citizen Budgetary Planning Committee. They've already committed many, many, many hours of their volunteer time. It's very disrespectful not to consult with them. And it's valuable insight that could be provided in regards to the current budget planning before the 31st, because you have a meeting Saturday, which is going to be postponed, and then a follow-up one on the 14th. So the 31st is well after the fact.
Did you hear anyone say that they would not consult the CBAC?
Nobody has yet.
I said to you that they will be notified.
On the 31st, you just
No,
said.
I did not say that.
You just said the 31st.
If you would listen.
I have it on video.
Okay.
I could replay it.
Okay, you can replay your video.
You
to get
said the
clarity.
31st. When is it? Please correct me so that I understand.
There's a meeting scheduled already on the books for March 31st, which will be rescheduled, and Mr. Dragon will be reaching out to the committee to do so. That is what I said.
Okay, I'll tell my business partner so she can plan accordingly because she's already spent hours committed to this. So hopefully it's before he has the opportunity to present his numbers to you, because otherwise it's disrespecting all of their contributions and hard work up until this point. So God bless. Good luck.
Thank you.
Nakia Wolf, ATA president. I don't believe that this is anything that it is that you are looking for, but I do appreciate the resolution. Apologies. I do appreciate the resolution in which the flags at the high school was voted on by a majority to be flown at half staff. So thank you for that in terms of that acknowledgement. You know, people pass, but this was definitely unexpected for he and his family. We appreciate the work that has been done in central administration and helping the family along with the union. And we appreciate, again, the compassion from the school board, and also appreciate your resolution. 2021, 2022, oh, I'm sorry, in 2020, 2021, our proficiency rate was about 30%, which means that 70% of our students were not proficient. None of the individuals, as far as our central administration staff, were there. Every single member of central administration who has come in before that has been tasked with making increases and improvement to those proficiency rates. So I have to ask whether or not there has been any improvement since 2020, 2021, when individuals were running for the board for the very purpose of keeping the administration in place when we had that deficiency rate in our, as it relates to our math and relates to our ELA. So I find it very interesting and very disconcerting that any person who's going to come in here is going to be expected to, in 5 years, fix what has taken many years. And where were individuals then when we had those proficiency rates? So it's very interesting how it is that we're talking about the fact that we haven't made improvements when we have made improvements based on the fact that our proficiency rate was 30%. Of course, we would like to have that improvement to be more than what it is now, but we're talking about 5, 6 years. And in that time, our central administration has changed several times. So I'm hoping that in the future, irrespective to what it is that you believe, you see the value in allowing someone to come in and have an opportunity to fail so that you can berate them before it is that you actually do. Everyone is entitled to an opinion in terms of what it is that they want to do. But as it relates to the community as a whole, as it relates to staff as a whole, we do see that the district is moving in a direction that is positive. And we are hoping that, Dr. Talbert, with your appointment, that you continue to move forward and addressing those proficiency rates so that we can provide a better product for all of Amityville.
Thank you. Next person.
Good evening, President Johnson. Francis O'Brien, 684 Bohemia Parkway, Sayville, New York. Vice President, Political Action, the Amityville Teacher Association. Evening, Dr. Talbot, board members, central office staff, community of Amityville. And that's what I want to talk about. I wish to speak of our community. We are many pieces, from our civic groups, our churches, the board members, teachers, business owners, community members, parents, and students. But unfortunately, with all those pieces, we are not achieving our full potential. What I see here and experience at most board meetings is something I simply don't allow in my classroom. We can disagree. In fact, as Americans, we love to disagree with it. We love to discuss things and argue and so on. And I encourage my students to disagree and present different perspectives backed by evidence. The difference is I don't allow the belligerent and toxic nature I see here in my classroom. Is this the example we want to set for our students? What I ask of my students, and to quote Stephen Covey, who says, seek first to understand and then be understood. The recent settlement of the ATA contract is proof of that. We disagreed, we argued, we listened to each other and talked and listened some more. In the end, we came to an agreement. Now, the 2.5 year period before that contract was settled, over 40 teachers left this district of their own accord. This does not count the over 30 teaching positions accessed during the budget crisis. Now, there are only approximately 300 teachers. That's over a 20% turnover in a short amount of time. Since then, only a handful of staff have left since the contract was settled. In all the buildings, teacher absences are down. Those are not simply something I'm throwing out to you. Those are facts. Consistency is key, not just for teachers in the classroom, but administrators, central office, and most of all, students. What happens in our community begins at home, all of our homes. So that's what we need to think about when we come back tomorrow, how to move this district forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I do have a follow-up for Mr. O'Brien. I heard something I'd never heard before. You said political action?
Yes.
Can you describe that? I don't know what that is.
One of the things I do is, an example is coming this Sunday, NICE is having a rally in Albany, New York, to fix and push our agenda to fix the Tier 6 retirement system. It does not affect just teachers, but all public servants. 10,000 NICE members will be in Albany for that. Following that, I will be in Albany for the next 2 days, meeting with members of the New York State Legislature to talk about educational issues, making sure we are fully funded with foundation aid, which was a 30-year fight, making sure that other things such as tiers 5 and 6, and as a request from a former member of your VFW post commander, I do mention to all the legislators we should do something about housing for our veterans. those are the things that we do as political action within the community.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add that our teachers are very involved in political action through New York State United Teachers. It's an ongoing cause, and thank you, Mr. O'Brien.
Stephanie Andrews, Amityville. So I have like 4 issues. One was very nice BOCES presentation, but BOCES has been doing this for over 30 years. This is a 5-minute presentation that BOCES can give the district if they want. The numbers in Long Island have been steadily declining for over 35 years. Amityville basically stays steady or drops. No mystery why they leave 6th grade. Parents don't like middle school. I don't care what district you're in. Those are the smart aleck kids. They feel they could take their kids away from the brats, whatever. Not all kids are like that, but when you're going to have a problem, that's the age you have problems. And then they come back at the high school because people don't want to pay very expensive private school. No mystery why it happens in Amityville. Very nice presentation, but I find it odd that an HR person comes up and gives a BOCES hour presentation, 45-minute presentation, when it could have been done in 5 minutes. And they could have done a presentation on how they're going to revamp the interviewing process to make it more efficient, more conducive to what the community needs and the district needs. Number 2, Mr. Dragon was given 2 contracts the other day. Interim consultant and interim, and we had no dollar figure associated with that. That is supposed to be on the resolution. Perhaps the oversight, the backups didn't get out to the public, but once the board gets it with an associated agenda item, it is public information. Can someone say how much his salary was so it's in the minutes of what was approved the other day? I mean, it's not a secret. It's a foilable document.
Yes.
It should be with the minutes.
Yesterday, March 3rd, Mr. Dragon served as a consultant for one
I
day.
don't know if your mic on, because I could barely hear it.
Yesterday, Mr. Dragon served as a consultant in the district. His daily rate is $1,200 a day. And
As
today,
a consultant, it's $1,200 a day?
Yes.
Okay.
and today, he started as an employee as the interim assistant super, and his daily rate continues at $1,200 a day.
Okay. Is that all? There's no other fees associated with that?
In addition, when there are evening obligations such as board meetings, CBAC meetings, any activities, there's an
Vicky, it's
additional hourly rate of $180 per hour.
Okay, thank you. As far as, one person did mention to me, the main clock should be stopped when employees, staff are up here speaking, because they're taking away from community time. I'm not talking about my time, the general time. I think that should be, something the district does. The third thing was the flag. Now, I've been a board member for 9 years. I opposed it when I was a board member. I opposed it when it was amended to include board members. I'm sure the teacher who died, God rest his soul, was a very nice man, loved by his family, loved by his teachers, loved by his coworkers, his students. He's an employee. I don't think it is appropriate for even a board member to have a flag lowered to half staff. Is determined by the Office of Flag Protocol at the White House and the governor. That's it. This school is named Park Avenue Memorial for one reason only, for the sacrifice of the servicemen and women. Same thing with the Amityville High School. It is disgraceful that in this past week, 3 servicemen and 1 servicewoman died, and we're putting a flag at half-staff for 5 days for a civilian. Every day, a law enforcement dies, a firefighter dies, a soldier, God forbid, is wounded on the battlefield. We don't do that. Why? This is the flag of the United States. It is despicable to do it for an employee. I would not want it done for me. I made it very clear when I was a board member. It's not appropriate, and it's not appropriate for a staff member. And the last thing I have to say is, no, you know what? I've already said that. That had to do with the clock. The community is what here. These are employees. They have They're the union officials that are coming up here, taking up community time. They should not be using up the clock time for the rest of the community.
Thank you. Just pause, pause the.
Good evening, Janelle Cronin, Amityville, New York. Quick question. I do serve on the hiring committee, and you made a very provocative statement this evening, Trustee Johnson, that you wanted to hear from the community. Is there a particular reason you chose not to hear from the community at your previous board meeting when everyone from the committee was sitting there?
So when the community comment section is done, I will say something in regards to that. When community comments are completed, then I will speak on that.
Okay, I just want to share with the board, I'm not certain if you are aware that there were very robust conversations between the community and the staff members. Dr. Lando was present, obviously did a very good job. We donated 16 hours of volunteer time, and to have that decision suspended is despicable. And it appears that this is the common theme of this board, is that you overturn anything that was done previous board. And as a 45-year taxpayer, it's quite egregious. I have a quick question for Mr. Dragone. I had a FOIL request into Mr. Schneider on February 11th, no acknowledgement of the FOIL. And I'm just wondering if you have an email address that I can send my next FOILs to you. And
Dr. Talbot.
Does it go to, who does my FOIL request go to that were unanswered? Not even acknowledged.
So the, pardon me, the full request would go to Mr. Dragone.
Okay.
Whose email is
jdragone@amityvilleufsd.org.
Okay. And when will you be answering the question as to why there was no public?
When everyone's done with the community comments, then that's what I'll answer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I just ask Ms. Cronin a question? Which decision is it that you're referring to that was overturned?
The policy was suspended for the business official. We were there for 16 hours. Don't waste my time.
Caroline Fanning. I have a question about the 5-year strategic plan that was part of the superintendent's goals for this year. Where can the public go to see an update on the district website?
There is not an update on the district website. This is the year to actually launch the plan, not to launch the plan, but to gather information from stakeholders, to formulate a committee. We have been in conversations with someone to help lead the strategic planning charge starting on next year. So there was a flyer that went out asking if you wanted to be a part of that strategic planning committee to please respond. And so that information has gone out.
Did you get much of a response?
We got a few. We received a few responses, yes.
Because I saw that flyer and to me, it was not encouraging. It seemed like just casting a net to all of Amityville to see who wants to help us lead the district. And that's your job. So I was hoping in lieu of that, what else has happened this year to indicate that, well, actually I have, as it's written in the goals, goal 1 for strategic planning, begin development of the 2025-2030 strategic plan by launching key initiatives across all 5 strategy priority areas. So can you give me examples of an initiative for each of the 5 strategy areas? Because the flyer that I saw on Facebook, that there's got to be more than just that flyer.
So there's much more than just that flyer. And that flyer was a way to reach out to the community to offer a voice in the process. So when we talked about the student growth and achievement, we centered things around the POG, Portrait of a Graduate, which committees have been formed at Park and the middle school. There has been professional development with staff and administrators with New York Inspires as it pertains to artificial intelligence. A regulation for the policy has been drafted. There's a pilot of SkillStruck going on right now at grades 3 through 5. There's a Smart Start focus on AI as well, and professional development has taken place with admin and teachers. When we talk about elevating literacy and strengthening math readiness and achievement across the district, we've conducted data meetings, which we've shared during our superintendent's reports. There's been professional development on SABIS, iReady, Reveal, which are our curriculum materials, and there have been parent meetings. As a result of that, we've shared previously that our 3 through 8 scores have increased across the board with a 22% increase in grades 3, 4% increase in grade 4, 9% increase in grade 5, 16% increase in grade 6, 3% increase in grade 8, overall an 8% increase over the last 2 years in ELA. As it pertains to the goals that you referenced, the ELA Regents exams have increased from 73% to 75% as late as the January 2026 Regents. In the area of math in grades 3 through 8, in 3rd grade, there's been a 5% increase. In grades 5 and 6, a 1% and a 6% increase, with an overall 2% increase on the Regents. We can continue and
Actually, I
share.
think that's helpful. And I don't doubt for a minute that a lot of people are having a lot of meetings to do a lot of work. But when I read that as part of the strategic plan goal, it didn't seem like it fit what a strategic plan is. When I think of a strategic plan, and as your Facebook flyer said, it's a roadmap to send us into the future. What you just reiterated or listed off is what's happening now, which all might be valuable and help, but it doesn't show me where I am on the map. It's not where a parent who might be considering, do I want to put my kid in Amityville or do I want to keep them in private? What is the district doing to reassure me that there is an actual plan year by year leading us somewhere else? The work that's actually I want to see the forest, not just the weeds. And I didn't see it on Facebook, and I would like to be able to see it on the website to reassure parents who might want to come into the district. As a parent of kids in the district, I want to be able to tell them, don't worry, there's a plan. If you want to see it, go to this webpage. They're getting back on track. But what you just told me is not available on the website, nor is it a plan. It's just actions that are happening right now. So that was my first comment.
Sure, it's launching and rolling out a plan. This is so much bigger. This is a 5-point strategic plan. That's definitely going to take time.
Part
This
of being
plan
leader,
is
though, is
going
being
to-
able to boil it down into simple language for the entire community.
Those are action steps. Those are action steps. The plan is going to be much bigger than that. The plan is going to even encompass, as our goals do, operations, finances, facilities, family and community engagement. And we are taking steps to improve those areas, and we have data to back that up. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen tomorrow.
I understand
But
what a plan is.
improvements in key initiatives are happening. You're not going to have a laid out plan tomorrow, Ms. Fanning. You're not going to have a laid out plan tomorrow.
No, but
it's going to
are
take
8
time.
months into the year, and this was part of the goal for this year. So we are in year 1 of the 5-year plan. I would think by the 8th month of the first year of the 5-year plan, that it should be committed to paper so that anyone in the district, a potential parent who's wondering, do I bring my kid back in for 10th grade, can look at it and be reassured. I want to get kids back in this district too.
There
My
are
other-
facets committed to paper. The overall framework of the plan at large is not committed to paper as of this date.
Well, that would be my request.
Okay.
My final question is, was a superintendent evaluation conducted?
Media, yes.
It was,
Not, there was a review of it, yes, it was.
but it has not been completed.
Like the past year, it was just a review of where we're at this point in time, not a formal evaluation.
did one happen in October?
We do it at the end of the year. So, yes.
I'm getting mixed signals from the board.
We do our complete review in June. So there was a review that occurred, and we're going to continue.
I was on the board in June. There was no review.
No, I said, I'm in June of this year.
But what about the evaluation for last year that should have happened in October?
I think, I'm not
Last
too
year's
sure.
was completed. I think you're talking about the mid-year review.
The mid-year review.
No, I'm talking about last year's.
Last year's was completed.
Last year's was completed.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
that was my question.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. All right.
Good evening. So I'll be brief.
You have to, I'm sorry, you have to complete there's a form that you just have to put your name on with a question. So I'm going to ask you to just come back around again and let the other person go, and there's a form that's in the back. All right. So everyone has to fill out, just put your name on the form and what your question may be. It's in the back. Thank you. Or the district clerk can give it to you. All right. Do you need a pen?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Diane Eglinger, Amityville.
Just move the mic closer to you.
My first question is kind of easy. I was wondering why there was no lawyer here tonight.
It was scheduled just to be a work session, and it ended up that we had to put, for work sessions, the attorney, just stop the clock for a second. For work sessions, the attorney does not have to be here if we're not voting, because we were not going to be voting on anything. There were items that were added to the agenda, and that's why. The attorney was here earlier, but the attorney didn't have to stay for this meeting.
But you did vote on things, very big major things that he was not here for. No lawyer was here.
We
Don't understand that.
Yeah, we had a discussion about it in executive session about the items.
But that's not the point. The point is the meeting is happening in front of the public. Major things were decided and there was no lawyer at the meeting.
Okay.
I just did say that I didn't know that legal counsel was not going to be staying either.
I didn't know either until he said he was leaving. Go ahead.
Well, that should have been arranged. And if he couldn't stay, another lawyer should have been here. I think that's a problem.
Okay.
Secondly, I'm not
Just restart the clock again.
I'm not saying I'm for or against flying the flag at half-staff, but my question is, if you decided to do this, how are people informed of why the flag is being flown? Because I went through past the high school months ago, and I see the flag at half-staff, and I'm going, what's that? I make a phone call, I call central office, and I said, why is the flag at half-staff? I don't know. Anybody know why the flag is at half-staff? She got somebody else on the phone. One of the gentlemen, Mrs. Eglinger, I'll take care of it. It'll go back up right now. So my point is, if the decision has been made to do this, it should be used as an informative situation, and it should be used as a teaching opportunity for the students in the district to understand what it means to have a flag flown at half-staff. It's an important thing for that to happen. And every student in the district should understand why that flag is being flown at half-staff. My third thing is, after I calm down a little bit, because it upsets me, because I do feel like Stephanie, there are only certain people who should get that flag flown at half-staff. My third question is, the decision was made to have a cell phone policy, no cell phone policy in the district. And I've not been at every meeting, but I have not heard one meeting where there's been a discussion about this, how the results are going. Are they going into their packs? Are they being left at the door? Are the kids more studious? What's happening?
Dr. Talbot, I do know, go ahead, Dr. Talbot, but I do know that when our student, board members are here, they have gave their report on their perspective of how it was going. But go ahead,
Okay.
Dr. Talbot. I'm not too sure if you have any additional information.
Sure. Principals have reported out that things are going well, that students are more focused. Parent feedback has been favorable as well.
Good.
Our student board members report out that things are going well. So it has been a great effort from our students and staff to make it a success here in the district.
Are they still using the pouches? I guess the word is pouches. Are they still using that to put the phone in when they come in, or is that kind of
No, the pouches are still required.
everybody's using them?
They're required.
Okay, so everyone is not using them.
I wouldn't say, but they are required and they're expected to utilize the pouches.
Okay, and what happens if they don't?
But there's a policy and a set of guidelines that they follow if the students do not adhere.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, can I just address Ms. Eckinger real quick? I just wanted to say regarding the flag, your point is well taken, and I understand where you're coming from. I think for me the bigger issue was that when I went on to our policy manual, and that's what I use. That's what I use for a reference. It's like my encyclopedia. For whatever reason, it wasn't updated. If you can go on there right now, it still has the policy that says it's exactly what I was reading from. So I don't believe that we will be doing that going forward. But we do need, if this policy was passed, it needs to be on there. It needs to be updated. And I'm not currently on the policy meeting, so if someone else was and wanted to fill me in, that would have been fine. But I understand where you're coming from, and going forward, I don't think that's going to happen. But I was reading off of what's in our books right now.
I'll just say, for whatever the reason was that it was decided tonight, a teaching opportunity is right there. Where the children in the district should understand what happened.
Thank you.
And Juan, to your point, it is upsetting that the policy is not correct on the website because that was updated last year at some point, so it has been some time. And I guess I would just say, because I didn't speak to it, that I wasn't like jumping at the opportunity of just putting a policy on hold again, since we did that on Monday as well.
Good evening. I am Saba Mshunguzian, president of the Central Long Island NAACP. And as I said previously, I'll be brief. I would like to congratulate Dr. Talbot on the extension of her contract. It's very well deserved. I'd also like to commend the board on taking this action and extending the superintendent's contract. I know it's been an issue back and forth for, I don't know how long it's been, months and months into last year and so on. And it really shouldn't be. It shouldn't have been as big an issue as it was. There shouldn't have been as much uncertainty as there was. However, we're past that. And I would like to say that there are many in the community, many people in the community who are glad that this action was taken. In terms of the extension of her contract, my question is how come the extension wasn't for 3 years as opposed to 2 years? Does anyone have an answer to that?
The decision was for 2 years. We didn't look at 3 years.
Okay. I mean, have superintendents received 3-year contracts or 3-year extensions?
I can't really answer that question. I'm not too sure. Being very honest, on the times that I've been on the board, so I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say that different districts do things differently. Some may offer a 3-year. I know some districts that will tag on 1 year at the end of the contract, a year before. So there's not really a set way to do it. Different districts do it different ways.
Okay, thank you. Well, I guess we'll be thankful for the 2 years and just, leave it at that. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
It is upsetting to hear that the policies have not been updated. I work diligently with the other board members on updating the policies, and I constantly was saying they needed to be updated, sending emails to Dr. Talbot and to the board president. To hear that that didn't happen a year later is upsetting. I heard Trustee Leon say the policies, this is an encyclopedia. The board policies is the governing it governs the whole entire district. And you're suspending them or you're recommending suspending them. I mean, it's terrible. The lawyer also agreed when he was rehired to be at all work sessions. So somebody must have told him he didn't have to be here because he was here at every work session last year. Somebody must be telling him he doesn't have to come because that was the agreement. He comes to work sessions. As for the recovs, 89 appointments, money grab. 89 appointments. That doesn't happen in other districts, 89 appointments. We see the same names. We see repeated names on these stipends. Their recovs is for loss and learning from COVID and also for mental health support. I didn't hear anything that recovs grant is going towards mental health support. In fact, in this district, I don't hear much about mental health support for our children. They need it. They come really, some of them are homeless, some of them are in foster care, and that should have been a priority with this recovs, and it wasn't. That was a non-resident that spoke, which is another issue. The non-residents are taking time away from residents speaking. Employees are taking time away from residents speaking. That policy should be revisited. Also, let's see, I just want to see a couple of things. Okay. As far as the budget, I'm interested in a 0% option to hear that you shake for a 0%. I've been in a district that did a 0%. This district even passed a 0% tax increase. It can be done. I don't understand that the community approved the 25-26 budget, and that budget included a $3 million increase. So you're saying we're going to spend the whole budget plus $7 million more from the surplus from the year before. Board members, where's the money? That doesn't make sense. 25-26 was approved with a $3 million increase from the year before. Your business official just said we're going to end with a 3.6 million. That means that $7 million of that surplus was used this year. How? Where? Where is it going to students? Where is it going to academic support? For 2 years, we've been asking how much it is to run each building, and trustees here, Messman, continue to ask. That hasn't been provided. And thank you to Mr. Dragone for bringing a laptop. You're the only business official that's done that so far, and I appreciate that you are prepared. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Your time has run out.
Can we just clarify that? Because that was not my understanding of what was stated. My understanding of spending the 25-26 budget within 97% of the 25-26 budget did not include spending of the $7 million surplus. It just meant that we didn't spend the $3 million that we increased the budget for.
That's correct. $10 million that you're referring to.
A little bit more to the mic.
Thank you. The $10 million that is being referred to was surplus from the 24-25 budget that has not yet been put into reserves.
Right.
And is sitting in what we call the unassigned, undesignated fund balance. In fact, it is technically a violation that we have that much money.
Yes.
So
yes.
It would be my intention to recommend to the superintendent that we set up a resolution for the board to determine how to move that money into appropriate reserves. We can't spend it. We can only spend the money that the voters authorized in the budget that was presented last year. From that voter authorized budget, we are spending all but 3.5 million. My best estimate as of tonight.
Right.
And that estimate will be updated at the end of March and again at the end of April. And of course, in June, we'll know how good my guess was.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that. And we have been talking about, or at least I have been asking for months for the board to really talk about where to put that surplus money. So I look forward to that discussion so we can finally make those resolutions.
I just have one more quick thing. Thank you for clarifying that. I actually, I think it was presented a little bit different, so I'm going to look forward to more budget meetings for more explanations. Thank you very much. One last point that I do want to make is that Dr. Talbert's supporters have been up at the microphone, whether it's employees or residents or non-residents, demanding respect. And at the same time, making disparaging remarks about residents, actual taxpayers. So there's irony in that. It's a bit hypocritical to demand respect and then say that. I guess you're making eye contact for somebody to come up here. Yeah, so I just want to point that out.
Were you speaking to me?
Or were you directing that
No,
to me?
I wasn't directing that to you, Chris, not at all.
You were directing that to me.
I was.
Okay, so you're inaccurate. I had contact with no one. So would you would please stop the false narratives? Thank you.
I'm sorry, your employee just yelled at me to sit down. Do you think that's appropriate?
Do I think it's appropriate that you come up here and disrespect me personally when I am in my workplace? No, I don't.
No, that's not what I said.
Anything that is happening out there will be addressed as appropriately.
Okay,
But you,
go ahead.
no ma'am.
Okay, Dr. Talbot, you are an officer of the board who's sworn in. You are up for public scrutiny.
I don't
And
mean
we are,
public scrutiny.
so I'm
Public
not
scrutiny is
disrespecting you.
okay.
I'm holding you accountable. That is what residents do.
I don't mind being held
I'm
accountable.
sorry
I'm
if
holding
your
myself
feelings get
accountable.
in the way of what you
Feelings
are
not in
holding
the
on.
way. My feelings are not in the way.
You're awfully
I
defensive.
lead with integrity and intention. And I just want to remind you that I am to be respected. I'm not property, I'm a person.
Dr.
And as
Talbot,
soon
I
as
am a
you can take the
resident.
advice of these people who came up here today to talk about kindness, to talk about respect, to talk about civil behavior, the better we will all be.
Dr. Talbot, I can agree that this community would be better if we were more unified and we were not at each other. However, I will remind you that I sat in executive session where you disrespected the board, where you disrespected board members. Please do not preach to me something that is absolutely not true.
I'm not preaching to you.
What
And I am
you
not
yourself did.
disrespectful.
I
I
am
am
here
not
to
preaching
hold
to you, and I am not
here to hold
disrespectful.
you and the board members accountable, as is my right as a resident, as a taxpayer, per the Constitution of the United States. That's all I'm doing. I hope that you succeed, because if you succeed, the students succeed.
Well, I hope that we can work together to make that success a little more.
We'll see how that goes,
Yes.
hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this point in time, community input is now over. And so I'm going to answer the question that came up earlier with community input. So the question came up in terms of how come I did not allow community comments. So just to make it clear, we as a Board of Education always want to hear from the community, whether it's something positive, whether it's something negative, if it's done whether it's positive or negative. So when we have a special meeting, we have done it before. We have the items on the agenda that we're going to address. We don't take community comments on the agenda, and we don't take community comments on non-agenda items. So for that meeting on Monday, that's what we did. That's number one. And then number two, we did have to go back into executive session because we had to have a discussion with legal. So we knew that we needed to do that. We had to go back into executive session. And so when people were calling out, do a intervening motion, allow the community to speak, I think the community also needs to understand that we always allow the committee members to speak when we have the work session meetings, when we have the regular meetings, when we have our special meetings. We typically take it off the agenda in terms of community comments on non-agenda items and on agenda items. So that's what we did for the meeting on Monday. So
So Lisa, I am.
so that's what happened. So in terms of that particular meeting, go ahead. Megan.
I just want to say that I think that as a board member, I would appreciate just being asked if we're interested in taking public comment before the meeting notice goes out that says they're not going to take public comment, because we weren't like consulted as a board. So I would always be open to including the public comment, special meeting or not. And I'm just saying that.
Thank you so much for your input. I really appreciate that. And as we go to do the agenda, in consultation with the superintendent, the board president does have the right to make a decision whether or not what's going to be the final decision. So I can always ask the board. I do. It's in the policy. Take a look at it. I can always ask the board members, and if we make a decision to add it in, we add it in. So I can always, I can always ask the board members if that's what we want to do for a meeting, and if not, if we want to do it, we'll do it. If not, we'll take it off.
Okay, so just to ask the board members, because we didn't weigh in on it.
If I do, I will. If not, well, it depends on when the meeting's going to take place and how soon we have to get the agenda up. Right?
I'm sorry, Madam President. Now I'm getting a little bit confused. I mean, I do agree that, that I believe it's a healthy thing to have comments at the end. What was the criteria for not having comments?
It's a special meeting. At a special meeting, we do not have to have community input on agenda and non-agenda items. So that's what we did. If you look back at other meetings, we did the same thing in other meetings for special meetings. So it was nothing new that occurred that night.
Understood, but maybe when there's a group of 10, 20 people, maybe we can, next time, I mean, we did call for a vote and it failed, but maybe next time we could have a little bit to hear from the public. So
maybe next time. At this point in time, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:25, please?
Motion.
Second.
Chris Neering is first. Carol Seehoff is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Thank you for coming out.